2. Two, hello. Check 2. The Depener no seconding business on the TRRS theme starts playing. No Depener visit today. No Depener visit today. They do definitely know me there. I want to find out if the people that operate the my local Depener, I think they're Korean. Like, I live in like a really heavily Korean neighborhood. And I would like to start learning how to say hello and goodbye in Korean, or thank you, which can't be that hard, right? I don't think it's that hard. Should I start doing that? If I said hello in Korean to the Depener people, do you think they would they appreciate that, or would that just be like, what's this guy doing? What's up? What's this guy up to? Would they appreciate that, you think?
You can count on me.
Just say arigato,
Rob, to talk you through all this.
TRRS Sankara.
Chic TV, thanks for the 8 months of Prime. I appreciate it. Thank you. Just don't use the wrong language. I wonder if I should ask. Should I ask them? I feel like if a white person asking you, like, hey, are you Korean? I feel like it's like, even if I have good intentions, I'm trying to be polite. I feel like it's like, you know, maybe kind of sketchy. I don't know. I don't know. White boy gets beer from Depener in perfect Korean. Cashier stunned. I'm Chinese. We don't expect you to know. Well, that's it. It's like it's not that you expect me to know, but it's like, if I'm asking, is it because I'm trying to be polite, or is it because I'm like trying to figure out what kind of racist I am? I guess that would be the question, you know. No, I know the white dude on YouTube and speaking Chinese, speaking Cantonese. It's a whole genre. It's basically a whole genre of content now. Had an Australian on a work call ask someone in Manila how to say thank you in Malaysia. She said, "I'm not from Malaysia." She didn't appreciate that. Yeah, so this is the dangerous territory that you're in. Start doing this. Are you Korean or Chinese? Rob asks. He gets his calipers prepared. It's totally innocent. I just want to be polite. I would like to get to know the people that own businesses in my neighborhood. I would like to be able to be respectful, you know? But I don't want to come across as not that, you know? Has Cinema du Parc tried to redeem themselves at all yet? Do you mean for like they canceled like a film showing, right? They've canceled like a Palestine screening. I don't believe they have tried. And also Sam sorry. I don't know if that's doxing. I hope you're going to come to the thing on Saturday. Okay? Come to the thing. Please, we're trying to fill up this event. Whether you're in Montreal or wherever you are. Wherever you are. I don't care how far away you are. Please come to the thing in Canada. What are we doing here? It's this Saturday coming up. Oh, God.
So are you Chinese or Japanese?
I live in California last 20 years, but first come from Laos.
Huh?
Laos. We lay ocean.
The ocean? What ocean?
We are lay ocean. From Laos, stupid. It's a landlocked country in Southeast Asia. It's between Vietnam and Thailand, okay? Population 4.7 million.
So, are you Chinese or Japanese?
I don't want to be that guy, okay? I don't want to be the weirdo. I'm just trying to be polite, respectful, learning about the people that live in this neighborhood. That's all. Pretty good sandwich. Oh, you've got stuff going on. Oh, excuse me. Mr. Popular. You are big timing me. This is bullshit. He's washing his hair that night. This is what this has come to. This is what this community has come to. Now that Sam and I hung out in real life a couple times, he's like, no, I don't need to do that. Rob, how many subs to raid into a hot tub stream? Like, how many subs to end this stream and raid someone else doing hot tub content? Is that what you're asking me? Hey, Regime Build, what's up? At the end of stream, how many total subs would be required to raid into a hot tub stream? I don't know. I feel like it would depend on the person. I mean, 120 would probably be the bar. Yeah, that's where the bar is on that. I feel like raiding into someone's hot tub content is like inherently kind of like aggressive, isn't it? Like, I know people want viewers and want subs and that, but it's inherently kind of like horny, isn't it? You know, and that's me. That's me on the other end of that. Maybe if they're doing a special event and are not a regular hot tub streamer. I guess I've just never really thought about it. we talk about gooning all day. I won't raid into a hot tub stream. I mean, I'm not saying never on this. I'm not saying never. I'm just something, you know, it would make me I'd be a little weirded out. Excuse me. I'd be a little weirded out over it, that's all. Would you want to be raided if you were in a hot tub? I mean, I guess. I can't be picky, you know? I can't be picky here. I need all the viewers and subs that I can
Count
get.
on me. You're going to have good old Rob to talk you through all this.
Beep boop.
Sam, thanks for 25 months and for all the support. Thank you, Sam. I appreciate it. I can't be picky about this stuff. I need all the viewers I can get. I need all the subs I can get. If I was even in a hot tub while streaming, that would be an indication that I would be doing way better on the subs than I've been doing lately. And I would probably be pretty embarrassed, but like I do a lot of embarrassing stuff on here. What if a hot tub streamer raided you and you were in the middle of licking an egg or the like? There's not much you can do. There's not much you can do. You just got to continue. Just got to continue licking the egg. So it's a major life lesson, you know? Once you've committed to licking the egg, you must follow through on licking the egg, no matter what. No matter what happens. I'm here. Can we start chit chat over again? Okay, let's just go back to the beginning. I just made an appointment to get my hair cut. I get my hair cut tomorrow. Tomorrow I'm gonna have you're gonna be Dapper Rob. Dapper Rob's gonna be making a comeback. Look how long it is now. It's crazy how fast it grew. It's like super long. Don't get rid of the length. You've been very adamant about this. Mistress of Insanity, you've been very adamant. You're a long hair enabler. That's what you are. I'm definitely going to get rid of some of the length. I'm not going to get it cut short or anything like that. I'm not going to get it cut short. My thing though is I don't really like going to get my hair cut. Like I normally only get my hair cut like probably every 6 months. But lately I've been getting it cut, but like not short. I've been like leaving length on there, and then I've got to get it cut way more often. So it's more of just like a personal thing. Like I don't want to have to keep going in there. The fact that I was just there 3 months ago, like that's wild to me. So I'm gonna take a little bit off, but we'll see. We'll do something good with it. Ask your barber to trim the length and keep the girth. I've been cutting my own hair for well over 15 years now. I wouldn't go back. I used to hate going there, sitting for some time and pretending to want to do small talk. Hate getting my hair cut. I don't like it. But I don't think I could cut it myself. I don't think I could. I have a couple times. In fact, in the 2000s, when I had like long hair, like down to here. Eventually, when I got rid of that, I cut that myself. One day, I was just like, I've had enough. I think it was the night I saw the movie Hot Fuzz. I went and saw Hot Fuzz solo in the movie theater, and I got back to my apartment. And I was like, I'm going to cut all my hair off, and I did. I did a pretty good job, actually. I'm bald enough now that paying to have someone cut my hair seems like a cruel prank. Yeah, I mean that must be freeing in a way, though. You know, you can just do the shave or whatever it is, the buzz, the close shave, whatever it is you do, Praxid. That's got to be kind of nice. I would like to be able to do that, honestly. We're inspired by Simon Pegg's short hair. I don't know why. I don't know what the connection was. Close shave once a week, simple as. See, that sounds kind of nice to me. It's a curse more than a blessing, having these luscious locks. You don't want no part of this shit, Dewey. Risk inverse. We've got a rib strick going on. I wasn't totally sure if I was going to do this stream. I almost was like, maybe I should just not. Maybe I should just not. I was actually taking a nap. I was taking a nap until like 15 minutes before they started the stream. I was napping. My sinuses are horrible today as well. It really seems like there's something really going around. Because I was talking to Jordan Ewell the other night playing Helldivers, and he had it too, and he's all the way on the other side of the other coast. Couldn't be COVID. Brandon got rid of it. Well, I don't think it was COVID. It may be COVID. It's presenting more like a sinus infection. It just seems strange to me. Not that I'm a doctor or an immunologist or whatever it is. Because when I had COVID, it was 100% different. The symptoms and the feeling and everything about it was like completely different. It's mutated a lot. Well, that's healthy. I like that we're just like our bodies are just biological experimental petri dishes now. That's good. I think that's excellent, actually. Anyway, I was going to I was thinking about just taking the day off, and I was like, no. The people need me. The chat needs me. The community needs me. And I'd been taking a bunch of time off too, so I was like, you know, doing back-to-back full weeks. Aren't you proud of me doing 5 days of my what's supposed to be my job? Those slubs won't slub themselves. Exactly, that's how it works. Good thing you didn't. I needed something to entertain me while I waited in lines. Good. And that's exactly why I decided to do it. What lines are you waiting in? Rob didn't stream today and chat wept. Oh, okay. The Air and Space Museum. Cool.
Wow. Okay, Rob. Seriously, wow.
Oh my gosh, Kijiji. Oh my goodness. What a start. What a start to the stream. Kijiji, thank you so much for the whopping 10 gifted subs. Shit, yeah. I really, really appreciate that, Kijiji. Thanks for the support. And you too can also support this channel, folks. You too can support this channel by subscribing. We could get closer to or even get to the sub goal early on and then just not have to mention it again, you know? You know, in many ways, isn't that better? In many ways, isn't that kind of better to just get to the sub goal early, you know? Never listen to the nap demon. That's right. You know, you just get to the sub goal early, and then I don't have to bug you about it. I don't have to crack the whip, even though some of you like when I do that. I'm starting to think some chatters love to see you grovel for subs. Hey, man. Whatever floats your boat. And no, I don't live in Anthony Housefather's riding. No, I don't. But I do want to watch today. There's like on the CBC, they did this like power and politics thing talking about this bill, and a big segment of this piece is like censoring his feelings. It's like let's talk about this bill or this resolution that's now leading to the Canadian government no longer funding or no longer sending arms to Israel. And it's like, rather than talk about Palestine, it's like, let's talk about how this is making this one MP feel. His feelings are really hurt by this. And I would like to understand like more like what changes were made, and you know, what else we've been what this resolution really does. And we can go over like the loopholes or, you know, whatever about that. Scold me, please. Catalepsy Kills. Gift a sub. Yeah, you. Catalepsy Kills. Wait, you think this content is free? You think it's free for me to do this? You think it's easy? You think it's easy for me to log in here every day and talk 3-4 hours a day and entertain people and do this and supervise you in this adult daycare situation? You think it's easy for me to do that? Yeah, I have my own problems. I gotta pay rent. I gotta pay bills. I gotta pay for all kinds of stuff. Groceries, what have you. I got a kid. Oh, but you don't care about that, do you? Oh, no, he's just this performing monkey. I just opened my phone, and this man just lives in my phone. He lives inside my phone, and I just press the button, and he just entertains me for 3-4 hours at a time. And then I close my phone, and he just disappears. Well, no, that's not how it works, actually. That's not how it works. I'm a human being. I have my own things going on. I have my own feelings. I have my own needs. You're like a Tamagotchi. You know, the screen goes black. You don't cease to exist. No. No, I still continue to exist. So somebody gift a sub right now.
You can count on me. You're going to have good old Rob to talk you through all this. You can count on me. You're gonna have good old Rob to talk you through all this. You've just become an elite member of the Friendship Triangle.
Pac-Man, thank you for the 19 months resub at tier 2 and for the 5 gifted subs. Very, very kind of you. Thank you. And thanks Kijiji as well for another gifted sub. Chat, it should not be up to Kijiji. Kijiji's done enough. Why is Kijiji gifting more subs? That's ridiculous. You saw my book reading technique, which was open the book for 30 seconds, then be like, phone. What about phone? First of all, I was planning on coming back. And then so I think it was Pac-Man. Someone said if you keep it up for 5 minutes, I'll gift subs. So I was like, all right. I was coming back. Ugh. It was Pac-Man. Okay, good. Let this be a reminder, chat. Okay, this doesn't have to be all. It doesn't have to be all fun, entertaining, Rob, all the time. Okay. I will straight up just go on my phone. You know? I'll just go on my phone if that's what you want. This is the thing I got to do. I got to make this big giant ball touch the ceiling. I almost had it too back there. I really almost had it. I'm trying to do like this thing and it like spins around. It goes, what? Oh, that's pretty good. Okay. Good start. Now I'm going to do something that curls around that with like a heavy weight on it. Tries to push it up even more. What? Get. Oh. Oh. Oh my. There we go. Okay. Okay. There we go. Now I'm feeling good. I need a new time wasting app. This is a good one. It's called Brain It On. This is the thrilling gaming that makes me come back to Twitch day after day. Exactly. I just passed level 66. Execute Order 66. Time wasting app. How about Twitch.tv? That was good. That was unexpected. I recently quit mobile games altogether. I've never been happier. I don't really play a lot of mobile games. I just got that recently. I had like a basketball game that I play sometimes, like this 8-bit style 2D basketball game. I play that a little bit. Are there other good games though? I don't know. I never really play mobile games very often. What's this? No, I didn't see this.
Played the moves it came up with. Go is a doubly complex strategic game, famously far more complicated than chess. What one That means AlphaGo has to be creative, not just calculative.
Oh, that was good. I think I saw that tweet being shared around, but I didn't listen to it. That did deliver. I don't know. I wasn't expecting it to be that funny, but that actually did deliver. That was pretty good. You know, one of these days I would actually like to just, because like my couch is right over there. One of these days I would actually just like to turn my, like if I took and just physically turned my camera around where it is, I could just go lie down on the sofa and go on my phone. I think one day I'm going to do a stream like that. I don't know if I would sleep. I would feel pretty uncomfortable for people to see me sleep. April Fools could be good. I could chat with you. I could chat with you on my phone. Need a phone stream adapter. Actually, someone told me what to use, and then I think I forgot. Someone did tell me the app that I'm supposed to use to do that. One of these days, I will figure that out. Prism? Prism. Oh yeah, I do have it. One of these days I'm going to use that. You can watch me scroll Twitter. One day I would like to cook one day. I would like to do a cooking stream one day. That could be fun. I would like that though. I would like to do that. I wonder if I would get subs by doing that. If I could just go on my sofa and just scroll TikTok. I could watch a TV show, you know? Like you couldn't see it, but you could just watch me watching like The Sopranos or Shogun or something. Maybe MASH. Heading out to get some bagels stream. I mean, I would be happy to do more IRL stuff, but I feel a little weird about doxing my neighborhood. Some of you weirdos are going to show up. I'm going to look out my window. You're all going to be congregating on the street.
You can count on me. You're going to have good old Rob to talk you through all this.
Anon, thank you very much for the gifted sub to Montreal Munchies. I'm outside your door right now, actually. Could you just, if anyone is like outside my door, like in a van outside, if you could just pick me up an energy drink from the dépanneur. Maybe some kind of a little snack situation. Do I dare turn my, like, this is what it would look like. It's kind of messy. I don't know. Don't judge me, okay? I'm parenting this week. Oh. Shit. Uh-oh. Oh, that's not good. That's not good. Uh-oh. What the? Wait a sec. Oh shit. Oh no. No. How did that happen just from me moving it around? There, no problem. Hello. Hello. Okay, so we're not gonna try that again. I was trying to show you my living room. I was trying to show you my living room. And it did not work. Your Twitch overlords don't want to see us in your enclosure. See, now the stupid part of my brain is like, now just try again. Surely it'll work this time. Surely it'll work this time. Why not? Let's just do it and be legends. I think I jostled the wire. Easy. There, see, there's my sofa. Just don't ignore the stuff on the ground, okay? I got some propaganda posters there. I got my TRRS mug there on the side table. Again, I'm parenting this week, so there's stuff lying around. There's stuff lying around, okay? Don't judge me. You can just look at that the whole stream. Yeah, the Dr. Jekyll book. He's back on his Dr. Jekyll kick. Needs more stuff? It's not that the side table is pretty bad. Next time I show you that kind of stuff, I'm going to make sure I tidy up a little bit. Anyway, you're getting a little peek behind the curtain, chat. That's what I look at. I go and look in that direction. So I could just turn that right around and just go hang out on the sofa someday. That'd be kind of nice. I think I'm going to do that. I think I'm going to do that. It's a very nice living room. I almost couldn't believe it was built in Unreal Engine 5. It's amazing how realistic some of this stuff is. Oh boy. The AI tried to render it at first, it crashed. That's right. It couldn't handle it. Real time rendering. MAGA Humpy says hello. Hello, MAGA Humpy. Welcome. Welcome. We're having some important discourse here today. I'm glad you joined us. This is important stuff. Is it still windy AF? I don't know. It's not that windy. It's just cold today. It's just miserable and cold. I feel like I want something else, but I'm not sure what it is. Maybe water? Do I want water? Is that what I want? It might be. Are you drinking enough water? Probably not. I mean, I drink a lot of Diet Coke and fizzy water. Not today, anyways. I think overall, I think I'm pretty hydrated. I think I'm pretty hydrated overall. I definitely have a couple of big glasses of water every day. You need like 2 liters a day. It was great this summer. I was really like, I had this big giant bottle of water, and I would keep it in the fridge, and have a nice ice cold glass of water at any time. I really liked that, actually. That fridge water at night would really hit. It would really hit different. This place gets pretty hot. Like this summer wasn't that bad, but there was definitely a couple of nights that it was like really hot. I don't have AC. Bridgewater is elite. I might have to figure out some kind of AC situation either, as well. I feel like my windows are not good for it. I've got these like long windows. This summer was like not. I'm not in Ontario. I'm in Quebec, but yeah, it did get pretty hot. I might have to do something now. Just take an ice bath. It's funny it's one of the things I was thinking to talk about as well. I talked about how on TikTok they're trying to always introduce me to these like right-wing like health trends, such as ice baths. And it's so funny. I don't know if any other people get this content. I don't know why. Maybe it's my age or my demographic or whatever that I get this kind of stuff. But there's this one guy, I don't know if you've seen him. And he's like, it's day X of taking an ice bath every single day. And he's on like day like 435 or something like that. And he goes in every single day and he gets in his ice bath in the freezing cold in the morning and gets in his ice bath. And then he like sits there in his ice bath and he starts dispensing this like wisdom. For what purpose? I don't know. It's supposed to be good for you. If these guys will tell you. I don't know if this person is conservative, but like I think it's conservative coded though. This whole like health trend, like Joe Rogan does the ice plunges. I used to ice bath after every football game. I think I could see after a sporting event, if you're really overheated and sweaty and fucked up, it would be nice. But a morning like 6:30 a.m. ice bath in the freezing cold air outside though. And then this guy, he'll sit in his ice bath and he'll dispense this like wisdom. Like, you got to slow down. You know, sometimes it can be really hectic. Yeah, and it's just like, what gives you the qualification to be dispensing these like philosophical nuggets to me? Like, you're literally just a guy sitting in a bunch of ice. That's all. Why am I listening to you? Why would I listen to your life advice? Like, you know what I mean? Like, who is this guy? Who are you? Who are you? You're just a guy taking an ice bath. That's all. You know? Why do you get to tell me philosophical nuggets of wisdom? Why is that a qualification? You're literally just sitting in a bunch of ice. You know what I mean? I find that really funny to me. He has these little moments of zen. I like River Girl as well, Mistress of Insanity. I would love to... She seems really fun to hang out with. Cryo stuff is supposedly good for shocking your body into trying to survive in a way that when you get out and warm up is retained. It's like fooling your body into thinking it's in more danger than it is, so it goes into healing mode. But I'm sure the benefits are bad in the long term or something. It probably makes you healthier, but ages you faster or something. I don't know. I just feel like it would be fucking cold, honestly. Like sometimes at night, I'm like in bed and I'm cold. And I start shivering. And it's really uncomfortable. Why do I want to go in there? Ice baths are good for reducing inflation caused by exercising. Yeah, well, like I said, it's like I get when it's in conjunction, when it's like a post-workout thing. Yeah, inflammation, yeah. You got sore muscles. It's a post-workout thing. You're overheating. I kind of get that. What I don't get is waking up in the morning and going outside, even when it's freezing cold, and going and taking off your shirt and taking off your pants and going to sit down in a big bucket of ice. I don't get that. And again, what I really don't get is why that then gives you some kind of authority to dispense wisdom to people. I wish ice baths would reduce inflation. I could afford a house. I dunk my face in cold water when I'm super anxious because it helps regulate your nervous system. I mean, that sounds reasonable. I think these are different things, though. I think dunking your face in cold water and getting in an ice bath after a workout thing is one thing. Let's see if I can find this guy, so you can see what I mean. Now I'm going to get even more ice bath content because of this guy. I'm going to get even more ice bath content now. It's this guy. I see this guy's content all the time. Why is TikTok trying to make me do this?
Good morning, guys. It's day 465 of taking an ice bath every single day. It's minus 15 degrees Celsius out here this morning. The water temperature is a quixotic 1 degree Celsius. We're gonna do 3 minutes in the ice bath this morning. And like always, my friends, it's gonna be a good day.
Here's where it comes though.
Creating a better life starts with creating a better today.
What? Who are you?
How you spend your day is how you spend your year. Our mind likes to
You're
trick
just
us
a guy in an
into
ice bath.
that life only happens in the future, once we have everything figured out. But the truth is, life is already happening. Don't be so focused on what you want,
You know?
that you miss what's happening here, right now. Don't
Why
waste
am I
any more
listening
time.
to you?
Make today count. All right, it sucks in here this morning. Let's get to this ice review. We're going with some of this flavor.
Why am I listening to you? This dude did mushrooms once and thinks he's a philosopher. Oh, lady of the ice bath, hear your wisdom unto me. You're just a guy in an ice bath, okay? There's just something really funny to me about that, though.
You know, she looks more Jewish than anything else. I bet she is. This is a plant. This is called controlled opposition.
Oh, God. I'm sorry you had to hear that guy's voice. Some say that many great men were just some guy. But if you become a great man, though, you cease to be just some guy. This is the thing. Did you see James Harden try to block his teammate's shot? No, I didn't see that. No. Some guys start working out at 28 and I think it's made them into a monk or something. This is what the like Joe Rogan pseudoscience health influencer world has wrought.
In the third, Harden accelerates. catch and shoot three. Rebound back here in the third.
Why did he try and... He passed it to Kawhi and then tried to block his shot. Why did he do that? I should become one of these like health influencers. Look at me. I'm physically fit. I'm in peak physical condition. I could start influencing people. I could start doing this. I should just make something up. I should make up some new thing. There's already a big market. There's already a big like ice bath content mill. I should make up some new thing. Healthy Rob and the Healthy Bod. Subversive Wellness. That sounds good too. Could always roll at an old crowd favorite like leeches or colloidal silver related wisdom. That's good. Doing lifts at the Lennon bust. That would be good as well. Starting point is not being physically fit. You should be a misogynist first, then you can be a fitness guru. Well, unfortunately, that's going to be impossible for me then. As we all know. You need juice or a pill. Well, I've been saying that for a while. I need to have like some kind of like brain pill or some kind of powder, some like workout thing I can sell to people. There's Liver King as well. Like Liver King just eats a bunch of like raw meat and like eating all kinds of meat. I could be one of those guys that just eats testicles all the time. That could be my new thing. Because these are the like the health trends that TikTok is kind of always pushing on me. Ice baths, cannibal diet. I think if I followed health advice from TikTok, I would just be eating meat all the time and living in like an ice water thing. You get recommendations for... Okay, cannibal diet was not the word carnivore. Okay, that would be a new health trend that we could really, I think, corner the market on. Carnivore. The carnivore diet, not the cannibal diet. But I mean, again, that's something that not everyone's doing. You got to buy the dip on the cannibal diet. Have you ever watched the Supersizers Go? It was a show where they ate and lived like people from different time periods. I thought it'd be kind of fun. One of my coworkers is doing a carnivore diet. He eats steak for every meal, adding eggs at breakfast. Yeah, I see these guys going to like fast food places and just order a bunch of beef patties and just munch on them. Like, I feel like no matter, even if you might like lose weight by only eating steak and meat and testicles and stuff, even if you lose weight, I'm not convinced that there's nothing that's going to convince me that that's healthy. You know? Even if you might have some short-term like benefits to that, I'm never going to believe that that's a healthy thing to do. It's also not sustainable to me. Like, you know, I love steak. It'd be kind of nice to just eat steak all the time. You know, I love eating steak. But then what? A couple days go by, a week goes by, 2 weeks, a month, 3 months, 6 months. You know what I mean? Like, you're still just eating steak and ground beef every day and just like chomping on butter or whatever it is. I know people do keto, but that involves a lot of veg. Yeah, there's other things you can eat when you're doing keto, but carnivore is just all meat. Oh, I've seen that guy as well, Old Dutch. The guy who just eats raw chicken every day. He's trying to debunk the raw chicken. It's because of wokeness. Like, let's be clear. It's because of wokeness that we can't eat raw chicken. And this man is proving it wrong. He goes on TikTok and Instagram and eats raw chicken every single day. I've seen that guy as well. Salmonella is woke. That's right. Some wacky people out there. I really need another TikTok account. So I can search for this stuff and not ruin my algorithm even more.
Being the bowel movements, if you go straight to a strict carnivore diet, you will...
Okay, this guy, this is one of these guys, I can't tell if it's a joke or not.
Here are 3 things I wish I knew a year ago before going carnivore, then eventually animal-based. The first being the bowel movements. If you go straight to a strict carnivore diet, you will probably not go to the bathroom for 1 to 2 weeks in the beginning, and that's normal. Your body needs to adjust, and it actually can use meat pretty efficiently. The second is ditch all the processed sugars. Swap for some honey or some fruit like bananas. It really doesn't matter what type, but do not keep any junk food around in your house because you will cheat, and it will overall destroy your progress. If you're still having sugar cravings, make sure you are sleeping and drinking enough water. And lastly, do not ignore the importance of organ meats in your diet. You can start off with bone marrow because it's actually the easiest one, in my opinion, to eat. When it comes to liver, a little goes a long way. Even if you have to cook it and season it to make it taste good, you would be shocked that it really doesn't take that much to get you feeling right. Here are 3 things I wish I knew a year ago before...
Oh, this guy.
Kale or broccoli. I would never eat this garbage. That's total bullshit.
Okay, we get it. You hate plants and you want to kill all the animals. Except on this one...
We've seen this. We don't. I was looking at the original guy here.
Let's talk seasoning on a carnivore diet. On carnivore, you're eliminating plant-based foods. Most seasonings come from plants. Herbs and especially spices can be irritating for the gut and actually do more damage than good.
That's a spicy meatball!
I recommend only using a good quality salt. In my opinion, seasoning a steak with anything other than salt is an insult. If you're new to the lifestyle, start with a strict approach for at least a month, and over time your taste buds will change and adapt, and you'll find the cravings you have for heavily seasoned food will start to fade away. Now, if you still feel the need after a month, you can start having a few seasonings here and there, but only use sparingly. If I'm eating out, I don't worry about it too much. In the grand scheme, a little pepper, garlic and chili now and again isn't going to kill you. It is, though, important to listen to your body. If introducing any of these seasonings causes any negative reactions or cravings, it's best to avoid and stay strict. Let's talk seasoning.
Coach Carnivore Cam.
Carnivore diet, steak and cheese pizza. Here's how to make it. For the base, cook and finely chop 2 chicken breasts and transfer to a bowl. Add 20 grams of parmesan, 2 eggs, salt it up and mix. Add it to a baking tray covered in parchment paper and press and form it into a pizza shape. Then put it in the oven for 20 minutes at 200 degrees Celsius. For the pizza sauce, throw a slab of butter into a pan on medium heat and add 50 ml of double cream. Get a 200 gram ribeye and a 200 gram sirloin and slice them up into strips. Take your pizza base out of the oven and add the sauce on, making sure it's all covered. Then sprinkle on some mozzarella, add the steak, and cover with more mozzarella and put it back in the oven for another 12 minutes. Take it out of the oven and there you go. Slice it up and enjoy. This tasted absolutely amazing. For more carnivore recipes, go check out my cookbook in my links. Carnivore diet cookie dough ice cream. Here's how to make it. Pour 400 ml of double cream into a bowl and whisk into soft peaks. Add 2 egg yolks, a tablespoon of vanilla extract, some salt and whisk. In a separate bowl, add the egg whites and a tablespoon of raw honey, which is optional. Whisk until frothy, then gently add it in. Then for the cookie dough, we aren't using any garbage chocolate. I'm using beef from the Carnivore Bar, which is just grass-fed beef and tallow. Chop it up into cubes, then add it to the bowl and mix it all in. Transfer it into a container, seal it up and put it in the freezer for 4 hours. Take it out of the freezer, serve it up and enjoy. Now this tasted absolutely amazing. A combination you wouldn't think would go, but trust me, it does. It tasted like cookie dough ice cream with extra protein. Definitely give it a try for yourself.
It's weird because like the keto stuff, right? You're cutting out the sugar. Like the sugar is a no-go. But this doesn't seem so carnivore. I guess you can eat a bunch of honey and cream and stuff like that. Proper healthy bacon cheeseburger.
A proper healthy bacon cheeseburger. First, ditch the highly processed buns, which are full of seed oils and other garbage. Then get yourself a 500 gram pack of high-fat, 20% beef mince and make 2 burgers. The only seasoning you need is a good quality salt. When cooking your burgers, always use animal fat. I've gone for beef tallow. Throw a good amount into a pan and get them on. Melt some cheddar on top and let the burgers rest for 5 minutes. Cook 2 rashers of good quality bacon in all that burger juice. Serve up and enjoy. This is the healthiest burger you'll ever eat, full of all the essential nutrients you need. Carnivore diet bacon cheeseburger pie. Here's how to make it. Chop up 3 rashers of bacon, grease a pan in butter, add 700 grams of 20% beef mince, then add in the bacon and give it a good salt. Cook until lightly brown, then add it to a baking dish. Crack 3 eggs in a bowl and thoroughly whisk, and get 200 grams of cheddar cheese. Pour in 150 ml of double cream, then add in the eggs and half of the cheese and stir well. Add the rest of the cheese on top, along with 3 more chopped up rashers of bacon, and put it in the oven for 30 minutes at 200 degrees Celsius. Take it out of the oven, and there you go. This tasted absolutely bang on. For more carnivore recipes, go check out my cookbook in my links. Carnivore diet bacon.
This is the kind of shit that TikTok wants to get me into. And when you're on this diet, you eat that every single day. Every single day of your life. No problem. No problem, right? And that's healthy. It's healthy to do that. What these guys think the WF wants us to eat bugs. Exactly, yeah. This is how you really do it. Like, I don't know what it is about me that TikTok feels the need to, like, show me this stuff. You know what I mean? Oh, God. Sorry.
A proper healthy fry-up. First, when cooking your food, absolutely avoid vegetable oils and any kind of seed oils. Instead, always use animal fats. I've gone for butter. Throw a good amount in a pan, then add 6 rashers of bacon, of course only using the best quality. When they're done, fry up 6 pasture-raised eggs, cooking them in all that bacon grease. We want all that good, healthy, saturated fat. Don't forget to salt your eggs, serve up and enjoy. Forget the beans, mushrooms and toast and all the other crap ingredients. Just keep it simple and start your day off with this and you'll have tons of energy and start feeling amazing.
Sir, come on. Sir. I'm sorry, but I don't believe that this is good. You know? I do not believe that this would be good. I like eggs and bacon just as much as the next man, okay? But like, come on now. I'm sorry, now I'm just morbidly into it.
Beef noodles. Here's how to make it. Crack 4 eggs in a bowl, 2 tablespoons of gelatin and mix. Grease a pan in ghee, pour a third of the mix in, making sure the whole pan is covered. Cook for 90 seconds on medium heat, then flip and do the same. Repeat the process 2 more times so you have 3 wraps in total. Stack the wraps on top of each other and roll them together tightly, then thinly slice to create noodles. Then transfer it to a bowl. For your sauce, throw a slab of butter in a pan, 150 ml of double cream, 30 grams of cheddar, and stir on medium-low heat for 5 minutes. Pour the sauce on your noodles, then mix it all together, salt and cook 250 grams of 20% beef mince, add it to your bowl, then add some butter on top, mix, and there you go. Tasted bang on. For more carnivore recipes, go check out my cookbook in my
Man. You know, I just don't think that that's healthy. Tastes bang on. Cream, cheese, eggs, and beef for my new food pyramid. That's it. That's all you need. That's all you need. And he mixed them with gelatin, too. He mixed the eggs with the gelatin to make them into the shapes like that. Bruv, me slop is brilliant. Bruv, me slop is bloody brilliant, innit? See, now it's been fun to look at this. Now my entire algorithm is going to be just fucked.
All right, Brian, I just want to make sure that
my entire algorithm is going to be fucked. I'm going to take a little break, folks, and then we'll get back and do some serious discourse. Now that we've had this important discussion for the last 90 minutes. I would love to do a cooking stream. I would have to clean my kitchen a little bit. My kitchen is often in rough shape. And I got a sink full of dishes again. God damn, I fucking hate doing the dishes. But this is what I mean, though. This is what TikTok wants me to do. They want me to take an ice bath every day and eat like this, I guess. That's what, according to TikTok, the medical minds of TikTok, that's what would optimize my health. If I took a 3-minute ice bath every day and ate that kind of stuff. Anyway, before I go, folks, does anyone else want to subscribe and support this program? 15 subs away from the goal. I'm going to take a short break and go to the bathroom and get some water, and I'll come back and we'll talk a little bit about this Palestine resolution and the hurt feelings of Anthony Housefather and how it affected him personally. We're going to talk about that in just a moment. If there's anyone else that wants to subscribe to this program, though, please do, if you can. I would appreciate it a lot. 15 measly subs away from the goal. You support this content. You support this community. You allow this show to to continue staying on the air. There's a lot to like. There's a lot to like. If you can, please do subscribe. I was conditioned to wash the dishes. I just pop on something to listen to and wash it and just clean anything I use immediately so it doesn't become too big a task. I know this is the way, Red Wizard, and sometimes I'll be able to do that for a couple days. I can actually track it down to the moment this happened. I had a few dishes in the sink and I wanted to cook something, and I was like, I had that voice in my head that was just like, just wash the stuff that's in the sink now. Just wash it in now. While there's just a few things, it's going to take 5 minutes. And my head, it did the Isildur thing. It did the Isildur meme. No. And now it's just got a big sink full of dishes. I regret to inform you the carnivore coach has died being crushed by a castrol made of 120 pounds of ground beef. His final words were, blimey, that's proper heavy, innit? Yeah. That's right. That's exactly what happened. Okay, I'm going to take a little break. I'm going to take a little break and go eat a big stick of butter and some bacon. None of these unhealthy fruits or vegetables or anything like that. Certainly no seed oils. What if I did... Okay, so what if I did this? What if I did an all seed oil diet? And I try to turn that into a thing, and just to make these people mad. Because then not only are you becoming a pseudoscience health influencer, but then you're pissing those people off as well, and then you get the engagement from that, because then they start engaging with your content because they make it so upset, you know? Just soy and seed oil, exactly, yes. Here's how I do my morning smoothie. I just mix up a bunch of vegetable oil and soy sauce and just blend it together. I eat this every day. Drizzle it on some tofu. And sell your own seed oil. That's great. See, I like this. I like this. Chuck the seed oils out the bloody window. So again, there's still a chance to subscribe. There's still a chance to subscribe before I take a little break. There's still a possibility. There's still a possibility of subscribing. You haven't missed your chance. You can still subscribe. It's still possible. You're going to miss your chance any moment now. Do I have to do the bit again? You people are sickos. Okay, just don't go anywhere. I'm gonna go to the bathroom. I'll come back, get some water. I'll come back. We'll hang out and have some important discussions. Rob will play with on his phone for half an hour. Don't tempt me. I'll do it. I've already shown you that I can do this today. Don't push me. I'll be right back. Okay, hello. Check. Anyone think I can chug this whole glass of water? Is it worth a sub? Is it worth a sub to chug this entire glass of water? You don't think I can do it, do you? You don't think I can do it? You don't think I can chug this water? Big glass of seed oil. Yeah.
You can count on me. You're going to have good old Rob to talk you through all this.
The athleticism, incredible.
Genghis, thanks for the 18 months, tier 1.
Rob to talk you through all this.
And thank you, Joe, as well. Thank you, Joe, for the gifted sub. Plenty more where that came from. Plenty more where that came from. Okay. Let's watch this power and politics thing. So I'm hoping this piece will shed some light about the specifics of this resolution that just passed. I think there's going to be plenty of stuff to criticize in it, to critique in it. Like we talked about, like my understanding of this is that it basically centers the feelings of this Liberal MP, Anthony Housefather. Let's it's a bit more clear to people. Okay. Let's look at CBC's coverage of this resolution. Housefather is like nearly like being named landlord. I know. You might as well really just go all the way with it. Let's see how this is covered in CBC Power and Politics.
In the House of Commons as MPs voted to pass an amended version of the NDP motion on the Israel-Hamas war. The Liberals moved the amendment late in the night, changing some key points on the motion, including no longer calling for the government to officially recognize Palestinian statehood. The surprise changes spurred more debate, delaying the scheduled vote for hours.
That's the number one big change. They took that out. They were going to recognize Palestinian statehood. And that in itself is symbolic, you know, kind of ridiculous that they felt the need to take that out. Just framing it as the Israel-Hamas war, I think, is like not accurate as well. I don't think that's an accurate way of framing what Israel is doing. Like you can't conceivably call what Israel's been doing over the last 6 months a war against Hamas. Like you can't. I think that in and of itself is kind of like disinformation. You know what I mean? It's not a war on Hamas. It's a war on like Palestinian children. It's an ethnic cleansing campaign that's being under the pretext of a war against Hamas. And I don't think our media or political figures should be contributing to that.
We find ourselves today in literally the 11th hour of the debate, a massive change to the motion.
This was tabled after the entire debate had concluded. How could you have such a substantive amendment that nobody has the chance to see or debate at all?
This sends a poor message to our peer nations, and Mr. Speaker, this should be ruled out of order.
Foreign Affairs Minister Mélanie Joly says the government was able to find common ground with the NDP on the motion and said the government is committed to following its calls to action.
This is clearly the intent of this government to make sure that we follow what is written in this motion. And that is why we've worked very hard to make sure that we could get to a text.
She's been going to Israel and hanging out with them while they've been doing this the last 6 months,
NDP Foreign Affairs
repeatedly.
critic Heather McPherson, who has been spearheading this motion. Heather McPherson, welcome back to the show.
Thank you very much for having me, David.
When we spoke for yesterday, you mentioned it had a couple of red lines in your motion, recognition of Palestinian statehood and the ban on military exports right at the top of that list. So why did you agree to vote for something that removed the immediate recognition of statehood?
Yeah, you know, for me, we spent a lot of time working with community members. You know, we worked with Canadian Jewish individuals. We worked.
And again, excuse me, but I think it's pathetic that friend of the show, Sarah Jama, is still like persona non grata in the Ontario NDP for getting this right on like October 10th and doing the right thing on October 10th, not 6 months later. You know, not 1 month later or 2 months later or 3 months later or 5 or whatever. Not 6 months later. She was saying the right thing on October 10th and got totally was attacked for it. Was attacked for it from people across the political spectrum. Was censored in the Ontario legislature. She's kicked out of the NDP caucus. Still, it doesn't seem like, from what I've spoken to her, both on this show and off, doesn't seem like she's going to be even invited back anytime soon, or if that's even a possibility. So, like, yeah, let's maybe give some credit here to the NDP for, you know, finally kind of forcing this and getting the Liberals on board this kind of watered down, kind of compromised resolution, non-binding. You know, it doesn't mean you need to completely like shit on that, but like, I think it's preposterous that Sarah Jama is still kicked out of the NDP. And she was absolutely correct about this on day one. Now you have Heather McPherson, who has done some good speeches about this and also has some other foreign policy views that I think are awful. And now she's kind of getting the credit for kind of whipping the support for this thing. Well, again, Sarah Jama has been basically framed as being a Hamas sympathizer for the last 6 months.
With folks from the Palestinian, the Muslim, the Arab communities, and we spoke to them about what they wanted us to do with this motion. And for them, they believe, they think that the statehood piece is important. It's still very, very important to me. It's something that I will continue to fight for. But what they needed to see is that the Parliament of Canada, that Canada's highest body, supported the Palestine people, recognized that there is a potential genocide happening against the Palestinian people, and moved those things that were urgent. So the arms sales was a key example of that, making sure that no more arms can go to Israel, making sure that extremists from Israeli extremists are banned and sanctioned in Canada, making sure that we are using those international tools like the ICC and the ICJ, the International Criminal Court and the International Court of Justice, to hold Hamas accountable for the terrorist attack it did on October 7th, but also to hold the Netanyahu government responsible for crimes that they've committed against Palestinians.
Okay, I want to talk about the arms exports in a second, but sticking with this question of the recognition of statehood. It was a red line when we spoke around this time yesterday, and then within a couple of hours, there's a compromise amendment. How do you go from red line to compromise in 120 minutes or so?
You know, for me, it was listening to the community, and this entire process, the reason we brought this motion forward, the reason that we had a debate, which, by the way, is a historic debate. We have never debated peace in the Middle East between Israel and Palestine.
Really listen to the community members after 6 months.
Even having this debate, for me, it was always making sure that we were centering those people who are most affected, that we were listening to Palestinians, we were listening to people who had experience on what is happening on the ground. You know, I met with doctors who talked about what they saw on the ground. I've spoken to human rights workers. I've spoken to humanitarian workers just to make sure that we're listening. So for us, when we went back to the community and we said, we don't think this is going to go, we had walked away. The New Democrats had walked away because we had not gotten the language that we needed to see. The community said, can you please move forward on those things that will help Palestinians right now? We have 13,000 dead Palestinian children that have been killed in this war. We have innocent people that have lost their lives in this war. The bloodshed needs to end. There are things the Canadian government can do right now that are urgent, and we have time to be able to move forward on the Palestinian statehood. I have a private member's bill that is in the House. I will be moving forward on that, making sure that we have those debates, we have those conversations. I have never understood how a government can say we support a two-state solution without recognizing the existence of two states.
Okay, I want to talk about the military aid and arms sales.
And again, you can't talk about having a two-state solution without acknowledging that Israel has no interest in a two-state solution, our close ally. It's not just about recognizing the state of Palestine. Like, sure, that's great. But like when our close ally that we've been funding this entire time has no interest in that outcome, that's probably an important aspect of that as well that we should be probably having conversations about also. We can recognize the state of Palestine all we want. It's a great symbolic victory. Sure, I guess so. But there's not going to be a state of Palestine as long as Israel continues to exist in its current form. It's just simply not going to happen. This is what I want to know as well, Dakadoon. Like, where's the loophole? I know one thing is that they haven't banned like the sales that they've already agreed to, or the arms transfers that they've already agreed to. These are all hypothetical future arms transfers. I would like to know what the language is about the settlements as well, because again, the settlements are the number one impediment to a two-state solution ever even being a possibility in the first place. What are we doing to compel Israel to withdraw settlers from these regions, if anything? Could they be selling to a middleman? Maybe. Yeah, it's like I'm sure that there is going to be some kind of loophole. Or maybe the government were fault. We're already seeing like conservatives pushing for a no confidence vote, which would lead to an election, which would lead to probably a new government, and would lead to a lot of this getting reversed in the first place. So it could also be the Liberals saving face on the way out the door, which with something that they know is not going to be permanent.
Because the original motion was very clear: suspend all trade in military goods and technology with Israel, which is very broad. It was amended to seize the further authorization and transfer of arms exports to Israel. That seems much narrower. That a lot of the things that are being sent now, like rifle scopes and non-lethal aid and maybe even these armored patrol vehicles, would still be allowed to go. What is your understanding of that?
That is not my understanding. And in fact, I spoke directly with Melanie about this. I made sure that Minister Jolie was very clear with us that this meant that no new agreements or new contracts will be signed, but also there will be no transfer of military goods, and not arms, military goods.
But if there is existing contracts,
then those would be canceled. We will not be sending more arms to Israel while there is a risk that there are human rights abuses taking place. And I think
So the Trudeau government will not revoke existing permits for Israeli military exports. Foreign Affairs Minister Melanie Joly won't revoke existing permits for exports of military goods to Israel despite this week's motion, calling on the government to cease the further authorization and transfer of arms exports to Israel. Joly will only take the non-binding motion's language to apply to future applications for permits to export military goods to Israel, which was effectively the government's position before the motion passed.
we all, from what we are seeing in Gaza, the risk of human rights abuses taking place is very serious. And that I mean, that is something the Conservatives should support as well. For goodness sakes, this is Canadian law. This is the arms trade treaty that is the law of this land. We shouldn't have even had to bring this forward. But we know that since October 7th that this government, despite saying they're not sending arms, has sent over $28 million worth of military goods to Israel during that time.
Right, but a lot of this would
And this is one thing too that I want to make sure, because like I think we can and should criticize this. Is it a half measure? Yes. Is it? Are there loopholes? Probably. I do think we shouldn't take away this victory from activists and the journalists that have been exposing the Canadian government's complicity in this. Like, it's nowhere near enough, but I don't want to sit here and say that it's nothing at all. I think like we need to continue. Obviously, we need to keep pushing and keep going. There's no victory that's been had here, but I do think it really does speak to the hard work that people have put in, putting pressure on elected officials. And from both an activist standpoint, from people in the Palestine community or the Arab community or just the overall peace community, and the journalists like Alex Koch at the Maple, who have really shown a spotlight on the Canadian government's complicity in this. Even Israel getting the mildest slap on the wrist is is a big shift. I don't know if you meant a climate shift, but yeah, I think that's it. I mean, like, no, it's nowhere near enough. Yes, we should criticize. Yes, we should be skeptical. I agree. It like there is a climate shift. Okay, yeah, okay. I get what you mean. Sometimes I'm trying to reinterpret people's typos in real time, and it gets confusing. Yes, we should be cynical. Yes, we should criticize. But like just the fact that there is a big shift happening, just the very fact that our government is debating this is a shift, that there's like more pressure now than there's been probably in our entire lifetimes. More pressure on the elected officials to not just blindly subsidize this. It's definitely noteworthy. So I'm trying to kind of strike a balance here where we don't pretend some great climactic final victory has been won, and we don't start all congratulating ourselves, while also recognizing that this is a pretty serious seismic shift that's happened. That's ongoing. You know, it's not completed. It's ongoing. They're probably all going to pivot on making it all about Netanyahu. Yeah, like we're seeing with people in the Democratic Party right now. Dragging these ghouls, kicking and screaming away from participating in genocide. Yeah, it's like... It's preposterous that it's taken this long and that it takes that much work to get them to this basic, nowhere near enough resolution, which also has a ton of language about condemning all the baddies and condemning Hamas and talking about the horror of October 7th and all this stuff. But there is a shift happening, so I think we can acknowledge that and appreciate that still.
And I not to get too granular on it, but the details do matter here. A lot of those would fall into the category of non-lethal aid. Now, I know a rifle scope makes a rifle more effective, and I appreciate the contradiction there, but it's not a rifle in and of itself. To me, the original language of military goods and technology covers that. Arms would not, at least in a plain reading of it. But you're saying the Foreign Affairs Minister has absolutely assured you of this?
She absolutely has. And listen, don't get me wrong. I don't trust that the Liberal government will do what they have said. This is a Opposition Day motion. All Opposition Day motions, regardless of which party brings it forward, are non-binding. So our role now as New Democrats is to make sure that the government lives up to what they've promised us. You know, the Prime Minister and the Foreign Affairs Minister stood in the House of Commons and agreed with 8 of those 9 asks that were in our motion, and they have to live up to those obligations. And we now have the ability as a Parliament to hold them accountable for that.
We talked about this yesterday, though. There are liability issues if they cancel existing contracts, where they could be sued by, arms companies, whoever it is, that may have a contract with Israel or whoever to ship these things out.
And I mean, also just to show that it is a big shift that's happening. Just look at the way Israelis are freaking out. Israelis are talking about Canada like Canada is this like openly Hamas supporting country. So, if they're upset by it, then at least some positive movement is happening. Is it enough? No, it's not. but their reaction indicates that like they're not happy about just even this. So that's something that I think we can and should celebrate. They think that about the UN even. Yeah, of course.
To me, like you're saying, they're aware of this and are willing to take on that liability based on what is technically a non-binding motion in the House of Commons.
So what I'm saying to you too is that this was one of the sticking points. This is what we walked away on this. So we were very clear that we walked away on this particular line because there is no scenario in which I believe Canadians are interested in hearing a story about liability issues against 13,000 killed children. There is no scenario where you compare those as equal equivalencies. That is abhorrent. So for us, stopping the sending of...
Yeah, Kijiji, totally. Similar to the Glazer Oscar speech. Thought it was fairly tame, but the outrage is still going 2 weeks later. The fact that they freaked out this much over that Glazer speech, Jonathan Glazer speech at the Oscars is insane. It is absolutely insane. They're still going. And Kijiji, you probably saw CNN put out that zone of interest review like 3 months after the movie's out. And then CNN puts out a review being like, actually the movie sucks and is boring. It's truly amazing. But it shows how even these basic half measures are a bridge too far for people that support Israel. Even these basic, mild half measures, whether it's a speech at the Oscars, whether it's this uncommitted campaign, whether it's this non-binding resolution, whatever it is, it's too much.
Arms into a conflict that could be a potential genocide, that could be used against innocent children, was an absolute red line. And that was the final sticking point that we needed to get over, because even with the community pushing us and asking us to make sure that there was something that parties within, that could be passed, that parties within our parliament could support, for me, that was impossible. Now, I'm very proud. You know, we have 4 of the 5 parties within our parliament that supported it. It was an overwhelming, we had over 200 members of parliament in the House of Commons that debated, that stood up, that recognized that there is a potential genocide happening right now in Palestine, and that Canada has obligations to recognize Palestinian human rights, to recognize that the Palestinian human rights matter no little or no more than anyone else's rights, and that Canada has an important role to play. We were able to strengthen the language to make sure that it is clear that this is not rewarding Hamas, that Hamas is a terrorist organization. What they did on October 7th is vile. It is a terrorist attack and should be held accountable. It's in fact why we have the wording on the ICC and the ICJ, so that Hamas will also be held responsible for all the horrific crimes they've perpetrated.
Yeah, and I want to clarify my questions about the liabilities are not to draw an equivalence between a contractual liability and human lives. I'm trying to understand the plain meaning, of what's been agreed to here and what your expectations are. But you've seen the reaction, I'm sure, Heather McPherson, from some Jewish groups who say that this is an anti-Israel position, that you've become an anti-Israel party. We have a tweet from Israel's foreign minister.
Good, let's hear from these guys.
The Canadian government is taking a step that undermines Israel's right to self-defense against Hamas terrorists. I mean, this is how this is being viewed, certainly by one very affected side of this particular conversation. I mean, how do you respond to that criticism?
13,000 children have nothing to do with Hamas. Palestinians are not Hamas. The trying to say that they are the same thing is incorrect. 30,000 civilians are not Hamas. Collective punishment is illegal under international law. You cannot punish an entire population. In 2024, Canadians cannot stand by and watch an entire population be starved because of a terrorist organization and the vile attack that they did. Don't get me wrong, I understand how difficult this moment is. The death toll on October 7th was the most loss of life of Jewish lives since the Shoah. And the trauma that many people across this country are feeling is extraordinary. But there is no way that we can sit by and allow children to be killed because of the actions of a terrorist group. So for me, we worked with progressive Jewish organizations. You can very easily look at some of the tweets that come out of groups like JSpace, who are extraordinarily supportive of our motion that we brought forward. We recognize this is a difficult time, but it's also these difficult conversations that need to happen within our parliament. Canadians expect this of our leaders.
Heather McPherson, NDP Foreign Affairs Critic, thank you for your time again tonight.
Thank you, David.
It would be something that would be psychologically devastating to me. It would be, I think, devastating to many in Canada's Jewish community.
Let's hear from this guy.
Our party. And of course, I'd have to consider what that would mean.
Quebec Liberal MP Anthony Housefather last night on the show.
You want to do an intro, really chill guy?
Anthony Housefather is back with me now.
Can we do it live?
For more reaction, Mr. Housefather, thank you for joining us again today.
We need to make sure this guy's personal feelings are respected.
You were against the motion. The final motion removed a lot of the things you had concerns about.
This man's feelings are so hurt now.
Why did you take that position?
Well, because I wasn't in favor of the amendment either. It made the original motion better, but it still created a weapons ban in terms of sending non-lethal weapons to Israel, which I completely oppose. Essentially what we're saying is that Iran will continue to ship weapons to Hamas in Gaza and Hezbollah in the north, and those will both terrorist organizations will fire on Israel, and if everybody followed what that motion suggested that Canada do, Israel would have no ability to respond. The motion talks
they would stop killing tens of thousands of children, Anthony.
On a continuous basis, and I don't support that. I believe that we need to provide more aid to the Palestinians. We need to work with our American partners.
Who's not letting the aid in, Anthony? Israel.
We suspect organization, and the report on UNRWA that we stopped funding for still has not been made public. So for a number of reasons, the way the motion was originally worded, it created a false parallel between the Democratic State of Israel and a terrorist organization, Hamas. And despite the
it's not democratic.
It still started from the same faulty original language.
Who's committing more terrorism, Anthony?
Was negative. And for that reason, I wished we would have voted against it. That was what I had requested. And I voted against both the amendment and the motion.
I have a question about military aid to Israel, because the language from the original motion says suspend all trade in military goods and technology with Israel. That's very broad and very clear what that means. The amended language is cease the further authorization and transfer of arms exports to Israel, which seems more specific, more narrow. But I had Heather McPherson on the show off the top, and she says she was reassured by the Foreign Affairs Minister, Melanie Joly, that means existing contracts get canceled, non-lethal aid stops going to Israel. That could be the rifle scopes, that could be the armored patrol vehicles they're looking for to buy from Rochelle. What's your understanding of the implications of that language and whether it's going to be
we need to keep sending them weapons.
The Foreign Affairs Minister.
Not enough children have been murdered.
One of the problems when you get an amendment that is tabled in the House of Commons 5 minutes before debate ends. So what essentially happened was last night we were finishing the debate at about 7:20 in the evening, and this motion was tabled by the government, which is a long and comprehensive motion, at about 7:15. It stopped being my friend and colleague Marco Mendicino from Eglinton Lawrence, who really should have spoken to the motion because he was supposed to speak at the time and he really wanted to speak, and giving everybody no opportunity to actually debate what was in this amendment, which to some points made extensive changes to the original motion. And that's in a parliamentary way, I think is not the right way to proceed. So I have no way of interpreting what it means. I've not had a chance to study it or ask lawyers what that language would mean. And I certainly wasn't party to conversations that Minister Joly would have had with Ms. McPherson.
Can we get some crying Robs in the chat, please? Can we see some crying Robs in the chat to center Anthony Housefather's hurt feelings?
Right, but so you haven't had any explanation? I realize this is just a motion. Sorry, I called it a bill earlier. That's not correct. It's a motion. It's not necessarily binding on government. But Melanie Joly said they intend to abide by it and seems to have given assurances to Heather McPherson. What have you been told?
For example, you can't. These are private contracts, right? They're not contracts. The government of Canada ships no arms to Israel. All the government of Canada does is issue permits to companies sending non-lethal aid to Israel or non-lethal, trade goods to Israel. You cannot force a private company to cancel a contract with
an
Israeli company. You can say we won't issue the permit, but you certainly can't cancel the contract, which is the language that.
And that's not even what they're doing, first of all, like we just talked about. But yes, you can. You absolutely can. Yes.
you're saying Ms. McPherson used.
Who says
or
we can't?
The minister is alleged to have used. And I did.
Who is the
speak with Minister
This is the
Blank.
question. Who is the power? Does the state have the power? Does the government have the power? Or do these private weapons manufacturers have the power? Who's in charge here? Who's in charge here, Anthony?
You can count.
Why
on
can't
me.
we just
You're gonna
tell
have
them,
good
no,
old
you're done?
Rob to talk you through all this.
Yeah, all these weapons that we're sending, Israel's using to murder tens of thousands of children. You're done. We're not sending them anymore. Canceled.
We simply use the computer to mark up the size of the account.
The word nationalize probably gives this guy nightmare.
Yeah, absolutely, Joe. Thank you for the 200 bits. And thanks, Spaceman Sidor, as well, for the gifted sub. Non-lethal aid trade goods. Fucking weapons parts. Dipshit.
About it, and I don't believe that was necessarily his take on what it meant. But again, I have absolutely no idea what happened in this private conversation between the minister and Ms. McPherson, or what legally those words mean, because I've not had an opportunity. We had 5 minutes before the vote to examine it.
No, I have the same challenge, because I read this as a watering down of the initial language to something far more explicit that may not actually stop what is the ongoing practice in Canada right now, which would allow non-weapons to be exported, is how I read it, but she says it's different, and you say you have no clarity on that either.
I do not, and again, I had no opportunity before the vote to attempt to gain clarity on it.
So, Mr. Housefather, when we spoke last night, and I can hear it in your voice now, you're obviously having a very difficult time with this. I watched your scrum with reporters earlier today, where you said you're reflecting on your future.
This is the real
that,
victim.
You know, after this, what happened
I can hear
last
your
night,
shaky voice.
It's become less clear to you whether
You're obviously very scared and sad.
Where are you in your thought process?
He's just this little small bean.
Well, I'm just going to take time to reflect on it.
Oh, he needs to take time to reflect.
Deeply impactful to me. I felt very
It's a really hard time right now for wealthy liberal MPs who want to continue facilitating genocide.
Jewish community, which, you know, as I mentioned in my speech yesterday, 95% or so believe in our relationship with Israel and our Zionists. And all of Canada's major Jewish organizations have voiced their deep disappointment about this vote. And again, it was an NDP Opposition Day motion that our party easily could have voted against. In 2015, David, the Prime Minister came to my riding and came to a synagogue in my riding and did a town hall meeting with me, where he told my population, which is something I've repeated in each election since then, that there will be no daylight between the liberal and conservative positions on Israel. The only difference is we won't use it as a wedge issue within the Jewish community, which I
Well, then
deeply
they killed
appreciate.
30,000 people,
And
Anthony.
For the last 7 years, I've always felt very strongly that that was the case. That we were
What has changed
strong
since
friend and
then?
ally of Israel.
What
I have
has
no
changed
reason to
since
doubt
that
nor did
time?
My population, you know, on the vast majority of issues. You know, you win some, you lose some, but that was essentially it. In the last few months,
How many more
I don't
fucking
know
people
how
need
after
to
last
die?
night's vote, you don't see daylight between the Conservative Party position on Israel and the Liberal position. We actually got in bed with the NDP.
Yeah, just the fact that there's no daylight between the liberal and conservative position, maybe that's an indication that it's a bad position.
Many more. I had, you know, hundreds of, maybe even thousands of emails today that I haven't had a chance to read all of them yet about this issue. Mostly about my speech yesterday, but about this issue too. And I'm going to take some time to, you know, reflect on.
Oh, he needs to
whether
take
or
some
not
time
I
to
fit,
reflect.
You know, and by extension, whether my community really fits anymore.
Where do you think you are? Are you
He needs to
closer
take some time to
Sting or
reflect.
closer to
This is
leaving?
just
Right now,
devastating.
I am a member of the Liberal Caucus.
This is so
right?
devastating.
Like you know, that I'm not going to get pushed out of a party that I've been part of for that many years without considerable reflection.
Mm-hmm.
But I do have to say that what actually drove me,
And leave.
you know, I would have had this reflection anybody, but what drove me the most to the point that I'm at now was the standing ovation that my colleagues gave to the NDP sponsor of the motion.
Why was that moment so difficult for you?
Because my colleagues were all aware that myself and Marco Mendicino and Ben Carr had voted against the motion.
Yeah, you
They
lost.
certainly knew how strongly, at least Marco and I felt.
You gave a
about
standing
what
ovation
had
to a
happened.
Nazi several months ago.
And yet, knowing how we felt, they still got up and gave an ovation to somebody who put forward what I believe to be a terribly anti-Israel motion, one that equated Israel with a terrorist group, Hamas. in my view, in the way.
Yeah, we shouldn't equate Israel with Hamas, because Israel has done significantly more, has committed more acts of violence and barbarism and criminality by many measures. By any objective measure, Israel is significantly more violent, brutal, takes more hostages, tortures people, rapes people, takes little children hostages, murders people by the tens of thousands, deliberately maims little kids, shoots journalists and nurses, teachers, aid workers, by any objective metric. Yet, no, you shouldn't compare Hamas and Israel, because Israel's significantly more violent, significantly more terroristic. What is, again, this definition of terrorism? What is terrorism? Oh, Hamas is a terrorist organization because our daddy, the United States, said so. Who's committing more acts of terror? When you terrorize a civilian population for your political project, that's the definition of terrorism. Who's more of a terrorist organization? This man is near tears because we dared to compare Israel with Hamas. Let's look at the body counts. Let's just look at the numbers. Let's look at the raw data here about who's stacked more corpses, who's committed more acts of terrorism. And I'm wondering, in this segment, we got the power panel. Are we going to talk to any Palestinians, maybe? While we're going to talk about the hurt feelings of this liberal MP at the audacity of equating Israel and Hamas, and having the audacity to limit arms sales to this violent apartheid ethno-state, maybe we should hear from some Palestinians whose family members are being butchered for the last 6 months and several generations before that. We do need to have a major national conversation on Zionism. I could not agree more.
Original NDP motion read. And so that made me really think.
So it was less applause
Cry.
for Heather McPherson, and you felt more like applause against you and Mendocino and Carr in that moment?
No, I don't feel that. I feel that they were applauding someone who put forward a terribly anti-Israel motion with the understanding
they've killed 30,000 people, Anthony.
Would have
you can count on me. You're going to have good old Rob to talk you through all this.
Diego, thanks for gifting a sub to James.
Feelings about that.
The Israeli foreign minister has issued a tweet saying it's regrettable the Canadian government is taking a step that undermines Israel's right to self-defense against Hamas terrorists. We've seen statements from Simon Wiesenthal, from CIJA, from B'nai B'rith, condemning this. You talked about the Prime Minister going to a synagogue in your riding, saying there would be no daylight there. How do you think that he is viewed right now by the majority of Jews in Canada after what's happened in the last few months?
I mean, I think the Prime Minister would tell you himself that he's managed to, certainly have most of the Jewish community, the substantial majority of the Jewish community, very unhappy with the government. I mean, I don't think that's you could have said that until yesterday.
I don't want to do phrenology either, but this man is a very oblong head.
We've managed, in a way, to
what is with that?
Two sides that are very passionate about an issue.
This is like a skull shape that I've never really seen before.
Alienated both sides, and certainly on the Jewish side, yesterday's vote only served to exacerbate it, for sure.
We've heard from some of your caucus colleagues today, just as a final point, that they say they value you as a member of caucus and appreciate the difficult position you found yourself in over these past weeks and months.
Oh.
I know you've expressed your disappointment.
Anthony, why the long face?
Vote. Has anybody reached out to you and tried to reassure you since you've made your feelings known about your displeasure with what happened last night?
Oh, I mean, of course.
Why the long face, Anthony?
My friends, I will never have a bad word to say about the Prime Minister, about the Prime Minister's staff, about the members of my caucus, about anybody in the Liberal family, right? I consider most of these people my friends, regardless of.
They support terrorism now, though. I would never say a bad thing about them.
And I deeply appreciate it.
Well, Anthony Housefather, we appreciate you joining us again. And when you've concluded your reflections, please let us know, because we'd love to have you back when you've made
Nerd shit. I've got to record the beginning of the Insurgents podcast with Jordan now. Let's just take a moment here. We're going to take a moment to talk with Jordan for like 5-10 minutes. We can get back to talking about this. And then we'll wrap up for the day.
Yo.
Hey, what's up?
I'm dying.
Yeah, you're not doing good, huh?
No.
Did you do TYT in this state?
I've done it. Huh?
In this state?
I did it yesterday.
Yeah.
I've been doing it from home, but it's like, I don't know what it is. I can just like turn it off. I like, don't feel sick if I'm like doing it.
You got to get those,
And then, like-
whatever they're giving Biden to go in the State of Union and stuff. You got to get that good stuff.
I feel like it's like Jordan's flu game.
Yeah.
I'm just like,
literally.
I'm blocking it out, and I'm just like putting up monster numbers.
Yeah.
Like last night I did the main show with Jank, and I was just like, at the end I was like, that was probably the best show I've ever presented.
Yeah.
And then immediately it was like, oh, I feel like shit again.
Nice.
And then I had to do their morning show today, and then I have to do the main show tonight.
Wow.
It sucks.
You're in the zone.
I'm locked in, baby.
Yeah. Have you considered switching to a carnivore diet? Maybe that's the problem.
What? Is that just meat?
Yeah. Meat, butter, eggs, cream.
No.
Maybe that's your problem.
That sounds like a recipe for a heart attack.
In fact, this is good chit chat. Let's start recording and I'll try and sell you on this. You want to do that?
Yep.
Hey Jordan, how's it going? What's up?
Rob, I am under the weather.
You sound a little under the weather. Yeah. What's up with that?
No, people don't wash their hands, and then they go out in public, and then they get me sick.
Yeah.
That's the only conclusion I can draw.
Yeah. Well, I'm still getting over a sinus thing. It seems like it's going around. It's kind of sinus cold type thing. However, I discovered one thing via TikTok. Listen, there's been a lot of conversations about TikTok lately, about TikTok getting banned for being possibly some kind of avenue for anti-American Chinese propaganda. Okay, and we can talk about that. We can have conversations about that. I spoke last week to Kat Tenbarge of NBC News about this. But here's the thing about TikTok that I've been noticing lately. TikTok's trying to sell me on some really weird, like manosphere adjacent health trends. Here's what TikTok wants me to be doing. Number one, taking ice baths. Okay? Number one.
Yep.
TikTok wants me getting up every morning and getting in a big bucket of ice water and chilling out in there. Chilling out, literally. It's chilly as well because of the ice.
I like how they dress that up, though. It's not just get in ice water. They have to dress it up. They call it a plunge.
The cold plunge. Yeah.
It's just, people are like, oh, I did a plunge today. No, you got in water. Relax.
There's this one guy that I keep seeing on my TikTok For You page, and he's doing his whole tracking his whole like ice bath journey. And he's like, is day 367 of taking an ice bath every single day. And he gets in his ice bath. And then he's kind of like, he gets very zen. And he starts dispensing these little nuggets of like wisdom about how to live your life. And I'm like, who are you? You're just sitting in cold water. Like, why are you qualified to tell me any of this stuff? You're literally just a guy sitting in a big bucket of cold water, There's nothing special about that. But here's the thing. Here's the other big health trend that I think we need to both be taking a look at here. The carnivore diet. This is the other thing that TikTok really wants me to see this content. Maybe this is what's going to make you feel better. Cut out all these nasty seed oils. Cut out the vegetables, the fruits, any of that stuff. Seasoning, of course, you don't want that either. You just got the 4 basic food groups: meat, eggs, cream, cheese, and you just eat that with every single meal, every single day of your life. And I think that's going to fix whatever health problems you might have, whether it's a cold or whatever other issues you might have. I think that's what's going to be the solution. I think we should both take the challenge, the carnivore challenge. We can do it together and track each other's progress and hold each other accountable.
So that's no grain or anything
No.
like that? No wheat?
No.
Oh, man. That sounds not healthy. Is that a thing? People are pushing that?
Oh, yeah. Oh, big time. Yeah, it's a whole thing.
You're kidding me.
I was looking at a bunch of videos of it today. Yeah. And apparently, like, and this is the thing. It's like people can point to, like, I've lost this amount of weight. I feel have more energy, whatever it is. But it's like, there's no data you could show me to convince me that that's a healthy thing to do for your body. You know what I mean? Like, you can lose 10, 15 pounds, whatever. Yeah. I'm still not going to be convinced that that's going to be good for you. It's a whole big thing, though. I think this is one of the things that, like, Jordan Peterson and Jordan Peterson's daughter was pushing. And look at that guy. He's healthy.
Yeah, he's
he looks
doing
great. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Everything about him you should want to emulate.
It just screams health, his whole thing, you know? Like that one time he talked about drinking like a cup of cider, and it like he was like, I was up for 5 days afterwards or whatever it was. Like the cider like gave him night terrors or something. I don't know. But, you know, he's the foremost intellectual of the right, so who am I? Who am I to suggest that he doesn't know what he's talking about? You know, he's a doctor.
Know your place. Know your place, Rob. Yeah.
Thank you. So I think maybe you just need to try that. Just go out, get a bunch of ground beef and cream, and just put it in like a blender. You pour that into like a saucepan to form a base, okay? Then you cook that. Take that out, cut up some more meat and cheese, put it on the meat base, throw that in the oven, and then you eat that and you dunk it in a little bit of a cream. You dump it in some cream as like a dipping thing.
That people do this? That's just so much cholesterol. Like I'm blown away.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. This is the hot health trend. Yeah.
Yeah, it will be us after our cold plunge.
That's right. What's going on the show today? Who are you talking to?
Rob, I talked to David Maciotra, the author of the upcoming book, Exurbia Now, The Battleground of American Democracy. This was a really fascinating conversation and book. He was kind enough to send over an advance copy. It comes out on April 2nd, and it looks at towns outside of suburbs and how they are increasingly more right-wing and radical, and that is driven by anti-Black hate. It was a really good conversation. Helped me understand more about the Trump movement, the Trump base, and especially when you talk about we've talked a lot about how Trump was, you know, flaunting classified documents at Mar-a-Lago to boat dealers, and talking about how, you know, the January 6th was populated by a bunch of, you know, middle-class professional types, in addition to just pure lunatics, right? So this book is a book of political geography and looks at people like that and where they live, and it's in these exurban towns. A really, really fascinating look at a part of America that doesn't get a real in-depth analysis. You'll often just get reporters stopping by for a weekend, talking to people at diners and heading home. So I really enjoyed this, really enjoyed the conversation. I think people are going to like it.
Cool. Well, yeah, what I think the Democrats should do is make sure you get all these people's views on the record, and then Biden should ignore everyone to the left of like Ronald Reagan, and then try and bring those people into the coalition. And that's going to be a winning prospect for the Democratic Party. To make sure who cares about the anti-genocide movement or the climate movement or young people, students, any of that stuff. You know, you don't need them. So I think this is the way you got to do it.
Yeah, we had a conversation at the end about the road ahead, because he says, like, I didn't want Biden to be the nominee, but looking at Trump, it's like I obviously don't want him either. So it's like, what do? You find yourself in a pretty difficult situation. So yeah, later on we talk about how to deal with this in a moment where people are so disillusioned by the Biden administration.
Yeah, that's the beauty. That's the beautiful American democracy in action. We love to see it.
Right. Right.
Anyway, that sounds really interesting. I'm looking forward to listening to that. Is there anything else we got to plug here, or what do you want to do?
Yeah. Earlier this week, we talked to Andrew Perez of Rolling Stone about a new report detailing talking points AIPAC was disseminating, telling allies, telling spokespeople to just deny that there's any starvation in Gaza. We get into AIPAC's spending in primaries in the general election, their influence in Washington, and a lot more. You can get that episode if you subscribe at insurgentspod.com for just $5 a month.
Yes, please subscribe to the podcast if you can, folks. Support the work that Jordan and I do on here. All kinds of really fantastic bonus content that we've put out over the last couple of weeks and months and years. Get access to all of that by subscribing over at insurgentspod.com.
Let's get into my conversation with David Masiotra.
Let's get into it. And Jordan's conversation with David Mastriocha will be coming up. Did I say that right?
No.
Fuck. You just said it too. You just said it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. And that conversation will be coming up right after this. Oh boy.
All right. You're like adding letters. I don't know. Where'd those letters come from?
I don't know. I'm not sure. You would literally, yeah, I was like, surely if he says it right in front of me, I'll be able to remember, but professional broadcaster over here. We've been doing this a while. We've been doing this a while now.
All right. All good. I'm going to go edit this.
Great. Sounds good.
Cool.
Well, take care, man. Drink some tea before you got to do more stuff tonight. Okay.
Yep.
Good.
All right. I'll see you.
All right. Take care.
Bye, chat.
Okay. That is that. That is that. Easy. I don't know. Do we want to? There's another little bit left in this clip. Do we want to see the power panel? Let's throw on the power panel and look at the rest of this segment for Power and Politics, and then I'll say goodbye. It's a really oblong, like oval ass head, though, isn't it? You know? It's like, I don't know.
Make up your mind. Thank you, sir.
Thanks very much, David. Have a good one.
You too, sir. That's Liberal MP Anthony Housefather.
He's going to go cry.
Okay, what could be the political fallout from last night's vote? It's time to bring in the power panel. Emily
He
Nicolas
does look like G-Man from Half-Life. That's true.
Dario is a former Liberal campaign director. Françoise Boivin is a former NDP MP. And Kate Harrison.
Why not have one Palestinian on this panel? Analyst. You know what I mean?
Michelle,
you know?
I'd like to start with you because, you know, as we've talked throughout this conflict, the fault lines of this run right through the Liberal caucus, and we saw it right. Okay, what could be the political fallout from last night's vote? It's time to bring in the power panel. Emily Nicolas is a columnist with Le Devoir. Michel Cadario is a former Liberal campaign director. Françoise Boivin is a former NDP MP. And Kate Harrison is a Conservative political analyst. Michel, I'd like to start with you.
Why not have one Palestinian on this panel?
Throughout this conflict, the fault lines of this.
While we're talking about this, the possible political fallout.
And Anthony Housefather.
We just did a whole 15-minute segment on Anthony Housefather's hurt feelings because of this resolution. Maybe we could talk to somebody with some kind of connection to Gaza or Palestine about what Israel's been doing there and about what their feelings are about this. Perhaps that would maybe illuminate this subject more for the viewers that are watching.
Says he's reconsidering his future. Where do you think this leaves the Liberals at this point after this vote last night?
Well, right now, I think confused. I'm not sure that anyone fully knows. On the face of it, it looks like the motion is pretty much just a restatement of existing policy. It's not binding. They went to, a surprising amount of effort to amend a motion that when it was first presented was completely and utterly unacceptable and flew in the face of what Liberal policy is and has been for decades. And I think that, Anthony's reaction, he's a friend of mine, and I think that his reaction in large part, as he said, is due to that initial motion. But now, I think that, the NDP are taking it and trying to draw wins out of it, and that some major change of policy and direction is going to stem from this opposition motion in the House of Commons. It seems that ministers aren't quite sure what exactly it does mean, and certainly Anthony hasn't had any kind of a briefing on the more of the substance. So, it leaves me with a lot of questions. I don't understand politically why they did go to so much trouble to amend such a motion. And if they wanted a motion on the floor, not just draw something up when they could, that was much more a statement of government terms. So I think that, the story is still to unfold, to be honest.
Right. Kate, on that point, why do you think the Liberals put so much effort into amending an NDP Opposition Day motion to get it to something like this that, I don't know, could cost them an MP from Quebec?
Yeah, I think there's been a devolution of their position compared to October 8th and the Prime Minister's pretty strong statement at that point in support of Israel, the right to defend itself, and what we saw play out. Admittedly, the rationale as to why to choose this motion is confusing. They could have absolutely voted against, to Mr. Housefather's point, tabled their own that's much more in line with existing policy. I think it's because they are feeling so much pressure around the caucus table, so much pressure at the constituent political level. They felt that they needed to do something to demonstrate a separation from their previous position and this one. Michel says it's a confusion. I actually think it's very clear what the Liberals have decided to do. I think that they've drawn their line in the sand around this issue. They are more in support of the state of Palestine than they are willing to stand on the side of Israel. And I think you read that in Anthony Housefather's comments. So I don't think it's confusion. I think
imagine believing that. It's been 6 months.
It was successful.
It's been 6 months, and after 6 months and over 30,000 people dead and over 12,000 children dead, they're like, okay, we'll do this non-binding resolution. We'll maybe take a look at arms sales to Israel. And this is the fucking response. Dr. Maggot, thank you for the gifted sub. Like, it's just absurd.
What Opposition Day motions are designed to do, weaken the government. And I don't think anybody can say that we have a stronger Liberal Party coming out of yesterday than we did before.
Françoise, is that your assessment here, that the NDP have managed to weaken the Liberals with this? I mean, they're claiming some victories on this, even though it's a non-binding...
Yeah, and how can they be committed to standing with the state of Palestine when they specifically removed that from the resolution? And like I was saying, it's not about just recognizing the state of Palestine, but recognizing the roadblocks in preventing that state from existing in the first place, which is Israel, which is these settlements, which they have done nothing on. And they're still saying that the Liberal Party, this is like them standing with the state of Palestine and no longer standing with Israel.
resolution, and there's different interpretations as to the implications of some of the things, and the centerpiece motion, part of the resolution of immediately recognizing Palestinian statehood, it went away. I mean, what's your sense?
Well, it's, excuse me, it's certainly the way they're playing it out. At the same time, I've been an MP. I've seen Opposition Day motion. This is a day all about the opposition party that is presenting the motion. And it became not the NDP day, it became another liberal drama. So on that front, maybe we can all say that the NDP succeeded at, excuse me, at making the Liberal not too sure. I can just imagine an emergency cabinet, the back and forth to the members. What the Liberals had to say to the NDP to accept, to amend. Something, by the way, guys, I've never seen throughout my years. An opposition day motion, which is owned by the opposition party, being amended in such a way that you barely recognize the initial motion. Not only that, it took their consent, because otherwise the speaker would never have accepted the amendments, because you cannot bring forward an amendment that changed the content of the motion. The only way he was able to accept the amendments was because the NDP agreed. So my question at the end of the day was, why do you give the lifeline to the Liberals? That I'm not so sure, and I've pondered on this all day trying to think what was the logic. I think the NDP got pressure, as much as the Liberal got pressure from inside their caucus, the divisions between all these members, because there's a growing number of members of caucus who are not anti-Israel, contrary to some of my Jewish friends think. It's not because we look at some images every day and say, we have to stop that killing at some point in time. Whatever the legality behind everything, there are just too many innocent people. So that was one of the factors. Right. But I think for the NDP, it was more the Muslim Council that said, listen, at the end of the day, if the Liberals vote against, the Conservatives vote against, we're with zero. The motion doesn't make any headway. So let's accept, and we'll advance with that. So on that sense, it's a mini victory in my book, but it shows how uncomfortable the Liberals are and how they had to make all type of gymnastic. What will be the fallout? Let me just say to Anthony that I like the way he does politics. Yeah. I don't think that the standing ovation was to reward the initial motion. I don't think your colleagues are that heartless. I think it's more relief because they accepted to amend something that they had zero obligation to do.
Well, you can see, Emily, the isolation that Anthony Housefather is clearly feeling, and the frustration, and almost like a sense of betrayal is how I would interpret the way he is viewing what has happened with the way the government has responded to this. But, this was an Opposition Day motion that became amended to the point that the Israeli foreign minister is now tweeting about it and criticizing it as if it's official federal government foreign policy. So whether the Liberals intended to own this, it's like a Pottery Barn thing. They own it now. I mean, what do you think the potential implications of this?
Why is this journalist a diehard Housefather guy? This man his feelings were so hurt.
The first implication of that today with Mélanie Joly talking about trying to clarify. I mean, there's still a lot of details that need to be figured out, but trying to clarify what it means now in terms of exchange of military equipment with Israel. If the NCCM tried to have that, to push the NDP, so the National Council of Canadian Muslim, the NCCM, tried to have the NDP amend the motion or accept the Liberal amendment rather than just have it as is, it's because of that part about the arms trade. There's been protests about that in the last months, and that is something in the motion that does change Canadian policy. the rest, I agree with a lot of what the others have said. Unclear what it actually changes, but that part we can already say that it changes something. Now, the Israeli defense minister was also calling directly the prime minister yesterday ahead of that vote, trying to push the Liberals to do something about the motion that was just passed. I don't remember a time where you had a foreign minister calling the prime minister about a motion on Opposition Day.
That sounds like foreign interference in our democracy. We had this big long debate about China interfering in our democratic processes and interfering in our electoral system, in our politics, and Russia. When are we going to have this conversation? We got the Israeli foreign minister calling us to like put pressure on the government to vote yes or no on certain resolutions. Is that foreign interference? Or when arms manufacturers also interfere? Yeah. Should we have a conversation about that maybe? Or should we just completely just ignore that?
Is a level of political tension in the House yesterday, in the House of Commons, that we've never or really felt before. And yes, you have this sense of betrayal that House Father was just describing, but there is also a lot of people who wanted Canada to recognize the Palestinian state.
Right.
There's already 140 countries in the world who recognize the Palestinian state and wanted Canada to join, who also feel betrayed by the accommodation that the NDP did yesterday, and do not see that the compromise that was reached was worth it. And so there is people who feel divided, and within the Liberals, there are people who are not necessarily NDP MPs themselves, but certainly NDP supporters who feel disappointed with the NDP. And there are obviously also people who are very pro-Israel within the Conservative Party, but also outside, even in Israel itself, who also feel disappointed by what happened last night. And so nobody is happy. And I don't think anybody in Canada has been happy on this issue for the last 5 months. And it was only a matter of time before the divisions that we've been seeing in this society reached the House of Commons in the way that it has reached the House of Commons last night. But really, it's something that is dividing lines across Canada. Of course, it's also happening across party lines in the House of Commons. And it's not just the Liberal policy that has changed. It's Gaza that has changed, right? Mm-hmm. There's been 30,000 people dead, a hospital, university destroyed. Of course, that earthquake that happened in Gaza in the last 5 months is bound to eventually have an impact on how Canadians see this, and therefore also how the House of Commons reacts to this.
Those are all very good points. And Michelle, I wonder when you look at that sort of analysis that supporters of Israel are angry about this, but yet the motion in many ways has changed to the point that it's either unclear or it moved away from that official recognition of the Palestinian state, and supporters of that position are undoubtedly disappointed in this compromise.
It's not even about supporting the Palestinian state, but like supporting
creating another fault point.
Not supporting Canada subsidizing this horrifying genocide.
Inside the Liberal caucus.
Any other issue, I'd make a glib comment, but I can't on this one. Mm-hmm. I don't understand, to be honest. I do want to be clear, though. What the motion does not in any way change the Liberals' position in terms of the right of Israel to exist, the right of Israel to defend itself, and the support of a negotiated two-state solution. It also calls upon Hamas to lay down its arms and to release all the prisoners. None of that has changed. That remains true to what the Liberals have stood for. That it remains true to what Canada
So,
has stood for
in other words, Israel has the right to defend itself. Palestinians do not have the right to defend themselves.
There's a lot of language in there that it's incomprehensible right now. It needs to be clarified. It's not great that other countries are calling in and trying to find out what this is, and it's also an incredibly odd way to change government policy, if that indeed is what the government is doing. So for the life of me, I don't understand what they were hoping to gain out of this.
Maybe they're trying to distance themselves from these accusations of genocide complicity.
A whole lot of work to do to try and iron this out. Now, if their intent in the first place was that they were going to move down a path of trying to change some parts of government policy, again, I think this is a bizarre way to roll that out. I think you could have done it in a much cleaner way and briefing a whole lot of stakeholders and your caucus ahead of time. Well, so, I'm skeptical.
Yeah, no, but that's a very good point, because like Kate, we have the NDP Foreign Affairs critic who interprets it one way. We have Anthony Housefather interpreting it another way, who says it was explained to him differently by the defense minister, Bill Blair. I have one reading of the language. I don't know what your reading of the language is when it comes to the arms issues, but it looked to me like the NDP had that part of the resolution also watered down last night, but they're now claiming it as a victory because of what they've been told, how it will be implemented by the Foreign Affairs Minister, and that is a weird way for the Cabinet Minister to announce policy.
Yeah, and to not, conceivably brief those of her immediate colleagues that are most likely to take umbrage with the emotion and describe to them in painstaking detail what exactly it means. I think she actually, Melanie Joly, owes that to her caucus colleagues rather than to Heather McPherson. But I'm left to Michelle's point, wondering who is winning out of this arrangement.
This is really why I can't stand this kind of like political coverage. All we're talking about is like who's winning and losing, like in our parliament, and who gave up the most and who conceded the most and whose feelings are the most hurt. No discussion about like Canada's role in mass murdering over 30,000 people. Like there's no conversation about like the broader implications of Canada supporting this. There's no real analysis of like the scope and the level of violence and ethnic cleansing that's been happening that leads to this kind of resolution. It's entirely like who is this hurting the most? Who looks the worst? How are like certain voting groups going to possibly react to this? I just really can't. This is exactly what's everything wrong with the way that we talk about politics or talk about any of these kinds of situations. Yeah, disaffected narcissist navel gazing. Like it contributes nothing. And no real discussion of the facts. Like, how are we even debating this? How are we even, like, he talked to fucking Anthony Housefather for 12 minutes almost. Why don't you ask him some tough questions? It's 12 minutes of questions about how his feelings are hurt and how he feels, how he's going to have to take some time. And is he going to leave the party or is he not going to leave the party over this? How about a tough question to Anthony Housefather about how the fuck are you still supporting this? Wouldn't that be something if you're a journalist you might want to do? Maybe ask him one difficult question to try and justify his totally indefensible, totally fucking morally reprehensible and grotesque position that Israel should have no restrictions in the violence that it's been perpetrating. And it's with no sign of stopping. They're intentionally starving an entire population. You've got the UN warning about food insecurity for this entire population. Can we ask Anthony Housefather one single question about that? How are you still continuing to support this? You're on here on TV crying. You're on TV crying about this policy being passed and how betrayed you feel by the people in your party. How about one fucking question to Anthony Housefather about how 6 months later, with all the nonstop stream of absolute horrors, every single day the worst thing you can imagine happens, and then the next day there's something even worse, and the next day. How about we ask Anthony Housefather a question about that? How are you still supporting this? You're on here crying on TV about this non-binding resolution, a strongly worded email, and that was a 12-minute interview, and that's all he talked about, his hurt feelings. And then you have this whole discussion about who's winning and who's losing and who looks bad and who looks good. Zero discussion about the reality. The horrors of this mass murder, ethnic cleansing campaign that we've been fully supporting for the last 6 months.
Because
I just don't. I'm done. Okay. I'm done. I can't go back to it now after ranting about that. Jesus Christ, 12 minutes about Anthony Housefather's hurt feelings. Jesus Christ. I should start calling more politicians on this show. I feel right now like calling Anthony Housefather's office and asking some of these questions, but I can't because I have to leave. I think maybe that's something I should start doing more, though. But I mean, it's just unbelievable. 12 minutes of those questions. And then, of course, when Heather McPherson is on there, who's given some good speeches about this over the last couple of weeks. Again, I don't want to downplay the importance of this resolution, even though it's nowhere near enough. Even if it is a hollow victory or a half measure or whatever. But then she still spends half the time condemning Hamas. So you got Heather McPherson spending half the time talking about why they're doing this resolution, talking about the UN, talking about the violence, the collective punishment, the murder of children, and then the other half of the time making sure that everyone understands that she views Hamas as being this horrible, dangerous terrorist organization. And then Anthony Housefather comes on for 12 minutes, talks about how his feelings are hurt by this resolution. And he feels very sad and disillusioned. Man, the only thing I'm concerned about Old Dutch is that it can turn into debate club because like these people are these trained comms people. It might just be more frustrating than anything, but it might be a good idea. It might be a good idea. It would be a good way to encourage other people to do the same thing as well. I wish they had played the 911 call from the girl whose family was murdered. Ask him if she'll shed a tear about that. Way more conversation about Anthony Housefather's hurt feelings than about the totally indefensible position of saying Israel must continue this. Israel must have no restrictions. 6 months later. Absolutely pathetic shit. I've got to get going soon, folks. I got to go pick up. I have to leave actually in like a minute. So I should go. I don't want to be late. I should get going. We got 10 more subs. If two brave heroes want to step forward, if that rant that I just went on, where I was actually quite mad, if that has meant anything to you, if you enjoyed that, if you enjoyed the show today, please subscribe if you can. I can't stick around, so I got to get going.
Just become an elite member of the Friendship
Risk
Triangle.
Inverse, thank you so much for 5 gifted subs. I really appreciate all the support, Risk Inverse. Thank you for that.
You can count on me. You're going to have good old Rob to talk you through all this.
S. Scott, thanks for the gifted sub as well. Very kind of you. I appreciate it. We got 4 more to go, folks. Do we have 4 more brave heroes, or maybe just one brave hero as well that could step forward and support this stream and support the work that I do over here on twitch.tv every single day? Any hot tub streamer suggestions? We didn't get there. Yeah, you just noticed the sweater? We got about another 40 seconds, folks. Do we got a 4 sub gifter? Can you help me get to the sub goal? Can you help me drag my ass across the finish line before the end of the day? There's still time. We could still do this. 4 measly subs to go. I don't have anything to threaten you with. We'll work on a list, like the hot tub list. Okay. Thanks for tuning into the show, folks. I'll be back tomorrow. Last stream of the week tomorrow. Give my regards to you, Gopnik. Peace out.